like Adrian Newey with his like design language, he's always going for looks as well as like form, and like that is like, I know aerodynamics is probably one of the most interesting bits as well
the
as engine.
aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so many. The thing I find interesting, and I've voiced this on the podcast a lot of times, I think even last week, is it's just how little changes make such a massive difference. Like Lewis
Exactly.
Hamilton in Austria, for example, you would have never known he had something wrong with his car, but it cost him 7/10 a lap and cost him a podium.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to get a race win or anything, but it cost him a podium, which is crazy.
Just a big championship difference with Max, that's for sure.
Like, did you guys know that they cut pockets out of the driving suits, the race suits, to save weight?
Never knew that.
Formula One.
I didn't know that.
Formula One lives on the law of marginal gain.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's only 2 grams. Why would we do that? But that 2 grams, apart with 50 other things that are 2 grams, makes differences. And when it's kilos now, but anyway, into the podcast. So we've each prepared, like I said, 2 controversial, unpopular opinions. Mine are pretty good, I think. I don't know about you guys. We haven't shared these. We haven't heard our opinions either. We've tried to stay away from the very basic ones.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Who wants to go first?
I think Adam, because you think yours is so great, go first.
I think you guys,
as a founder of this podcast, you can go first.
Mine's gonna get the podcast canceled. I'm gonna be completely, and I'm still gonna voice it.
Musty, here's a prediction. It's gonna be about Lewis Hamilton.
It's not. It's not about a person. It's also not negative or hateful. It's just the least popular thing in the sport, and a lot of people. I've talked about it on the podcast. All right, without further ado, oh man, I'm gonna get ripped apart for this. F1 teams should go full electric, whole grid, full electric. They should change from the hybrid engine to a Formula E style electric engine. This is so you're still listening to the podcast.
Very interesting. If you're still here, thank you.
Daph, you're a Formula E fan.
Yeah.
Or you're a Leonardo DiCaprio and a massive environmentalist.
Yeah. If you're a massive thank you, because I expect to lose all of our billion listeners at that second.
Billions. We have 9 billion listeners an episode.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, go on. Say exactly why.
No, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Thank you very much for listening. No, the Formula One grid should go full electric, or see that, because this is something I firmly believe in, and a lot of people I've noticed not a lot of people can see the benefit of the electric. And I'm not an environmentalist. I recycle, but I do not like electric cars. I like V10 engines. But I need to separate what I want and what should happen for the benefit of the sport, because, I've said this before. I love V10 cars screaming around a track. I am trying my best to go to see the historical Monaco Grand Prix or the historic de Monaco, because those cars, if you've ever heard a V10 car or a V8 Formula One car, it is deafening, and it's one of the most beautiful noises ever. And I gotta cut that little tangent because I could talk about that forever, how good they sound. But that is unfortunately not the future. It isn't. Because the reality is, people want engine manufacturers are going to start making more electric cars. Audi is looking at it way more, Porsche especially. And so the R&D that you get from the engines is going to have to go to electric. It's going to be going to building electric engines. This is why they don't have V12 engines anymore. It's because no one has it. Like Ferrari does not want to invest 400 million euros a year into a V12 engines, which they're practically stopping. The only team that would be racing around is Aston Martin, pretty much. Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
Don't you think it's going to reduce the competitiveness?
For
example, a Ferrari engine, the past years have been horrible. with the electric won't level out the playing field of the engine a bit more. I don't think it's going to make a Haas engine very different from Mercedes engine or McLaren engine.
You think they'll be the same?
Yeah. So if you look at Formula E, it's very much based on how good the driver is and how good the team is with strategy. Not much as the power they're given.
Well, I don't. Oh, sorry. No, Musty, you go first.
Yeah, I was going to say, haven't they had like 7 winners in 7 different races? So it was either this season or last season. I don't follow it very closely, but
yeah, Formula E though, people assume like going to electric means it's going to be Formula E. I don't really like Formula E. It's interesting, but there's a lot of aspects to that I dislike. Like the fan boost, I think it's very the gamification of that is just really strong, and I dislike that. And the tightness of the track, I don't like that there's no gears. Like I just think that's really weird. Full electric in a way that you can kind of have where it's still horsepower, it's just the sustainability of that for the sport it's critical. The sport is not going to survive on V10 engines. If they went back to V10, it would last a couple years, maybe.
Yeah.
Formula E spec, right? There's no body development, I don't think.
Honestly, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that also wouldn't. It's not something that I'd want.
Yeah, I don't want the spec because that's what it messes with the DNA of the sport.
Yeah,
having the spec engines. Like if I wanted to watch spec cars race around a track, I'd watch Indy, and I love watching Indy because the cars are racing super competitive and the cars are super close. No, I think the development of the engines is going to be different and the power output would be different. I just think the hybrid sustainability is not going to, like the hybrid engines are not going to be sustainable for the sport in the next 10 years. Okay. And I don't like, I dislike watching electric cars go around a track. And the thought of that actually like makes me sad. But I would rather watch an electric Formula One car go around a track than no Formula One car go around a track, right? So that's what do you got? So have I convinced you guys on my topic?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No,
keep an eye,
not really.
At all. I mean, I get the whole sustainability sign. I do agree with there should be a way to making the engines like we currently have a lot more sustainable. I think there are potential technology advances that we can do that.
Yeah.
But I think going electric, we have Formula E for a reason. And I think that differentiates Formula E with Formula One. That's why Formula One is the fastest and the best, in my opinion, motorsport racing in the world. While Formula E is pretty up there. It's pretty good racing wise. The races are really I started getting into Formula E a bit more this year, and the races are a lot more closer than I thought it would be. It's just the idea is a bit more flawed than Formula One.
Yeah. And this is, don't get it twisted. This is not what I want. If it was up to me, and I would go back to the V10s, because again, getting to hear those cars was like brought a tear to my eye. Like there's a beautiful noise that only such a niche, appreciates, because everyone just thinks it's noise and it's annoying, but to you, it's just loud and aggressive and wonderful. But if I want to keep watching Formula One, and if Formula One wants to keep competing, they're going to have to make changes. They've already targeted these changes for 2026. They're going to go carbon neutral. And I don't really know what that means. I haven't looked into it that much. But going that like carbon neutral full electric route is the only way I think the sport can continue in terms of attracting new engine suppliers and new teams. So from a fan standpoint, absolutely not. But if I'm the CEO of Audi, I'm not going to want to go to a sport that makes engines that I'm not going to get the R&D from, because Audi's making the switch now to electric cars. What about Tesla? Imagine if Tesla came into like Formula One or Formula E. I don't want it to be Formula E, but I can't survive on its own. So I want F1 to survive. So I think they should go hybrid. Or they should go electric. Yeah. But anyway, moving on. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. That's okay.
Yep. All right, hit it up.
Okay. Here's my controversial.
Nope, I disagree. Must see.
I think you might agree with this one. I think you might. Um, my thoughts are that Williams Racing will be very competitive in the next 2 years.
Wow.
I see them in the next 2 years becoming as competitive as a Ferrari or McLaren this year.
So that one's kind of like a prediction, but an unpopular opinion. You
Very
really
unpopular, controversial.
Think they'll turn it around?
And here's my logic behind it. Right, first step, Jenson Button. Like, I don't know if you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Jenson Button, and he is a proven race winner, proven championship winner, knows how to take a team from absolute zero, like absolute being in the doghouse, taking it to be top step of the podium. And he knows he's been in the shit teams, he's been in the really good teams as well. He knows exactly what the difference is. And I think him coming on as an advisor role will be such a good, because Williams have shown that they're quick at spaces. They've shown George Russell's gone to Q3 for the first time this season.
Mm-hmm.
Could have got points, but it was just, for a Russell to be in P11, that's just amazing. I think that just shows how much Williams have progressed these past couple of years. The second thing is new money. The capital investment they've got, him becoming the CEO and team principal, a whole new different dynamic in the whole setup. I think fresh faces for them will do so well. We saw with Mercedes as well when Toto Wolff came in as their CEO and team principal. It made such a big difference to them because they had someone in charge of the money who's really good with money. And capital is he's shown that in his business that he's really good with money. At the same time, knows Formula One knowledge and can take the team to high strides. I mean, think about ever since he's come in, George has had one almost Q3 appearance. Should have been in the points, but unlucky for him. Next time he gone to Q3, should have been the points again, just unlucky on him. I think he's sort of a good luck charm for them as well. And fourth point would be effective George Russell. In my opinion, George Russell is the next Lewis Hamilton. I think he's definitely left a mark on that team. That's a contra segment as well. That
two unpopular opinions in one.
I mean, I think George Russell, he won't achieve the same feats as Lewis Hamilton, but he's a driver capable of putting it in the same bracket at least. I think if George was a few years younger, I would say, okay, he is an ex-Lewis Hamilton, but I think George has enough time to make up all the feats that Hamilton has done. But saying, I think effective George Russell on that team has been absolutely big. Like, they've shaped the car around him, they've shaped the entire team around him, and I think that he's going to drive that team into an onward and like forward process. And then finally,
unless he leaves.
Even there's the next point, he's going to leave, right? But you're getting a driver replacement of most likely you think he's going to leave. I hope he does. You're getting a driver replacement of Nico Hülkenberg, of Bottas, or Kvyat. All these three people should be having a lot better. I mean, apart from Bottas, but Nico should be getting a better car. He's a proven race driver. I can't say podium because he hasn't achieved a podium, but he's a freaking good driver. Kvyat as well is a freaking good driver, and the experience he's gained at Red Bull, gained at AlphaTauri, and Toro Rosso, and the one he's gained at Alpine as well. I think that's got a huge amount of experience. And last thing, Latifi, I want to call him a good driver, but he's an up and coming driver. Let's say that. His junior career was actually pretty good, and he did pretty well if you think about it, being a rookie and then being with the Williams was so bad. I think this year he's sort of lost his setup, but I think once he gets it back, he should be a good driver. And I think the Williams Formula One racing team will be competitive in the next 2-3 years.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
With this one, it's really hard to say because you never know. But I think because it's really easy to say Williams is going to take 5 steps forward next season because that it might happen.
Yeah.
But then what if someone like Alfa Romeo takes 4 steps forward and they're already 1 step ahead?
Yeah.
If all the teams, it really depends what the other teams do. We've kind of seen it where a team that's not that great, like even going into the hybrid era, Mercedes was already on the rise.
Yeah.
Like they finished 3rd or 4th in the Constructors Championships in 2013.
Yeah.
They had Lewis Hamilton.
I think it was 4th, yeah.
Yeah, 4th. So they were kind of already up on the rise, and then they found a loophole. So yeah, it definitely depends if Williams can find that loophole. Do I think Nico Hülkenberg is going to go to that team? No. Do I think that?
I mean, he could. Doesn't have any other Formula One racing drive, does he?
Yeah.
I think he wants to get back, and I think with Williams, if he can see potential project where you can take a team from 7th to 1st or 3rd or 2nd, whatever it is.
4th every race.
Yeah. I don't think Williams will say no to that. If they say the next 2 years we could be 4th every single race, I don't think they're gonna say no to that.
I don't even know if he would want to come back. Like, he's voiced that he doesn't want to come back to Williams. And if Williams, he is tied in with Mercedes right now as well as Aston Martin. So maybe it depends what Bottas wants to do. If they switch Bottas and Russell, maybe. But yeah, Musty, what are your thoughts? I'm curious what you think. Our newest technical analyst.
Well, obviously, like F1's more about the marginal gains, but like having to go from the back of the pack to like somewhere in the midfield, you have to make those big strides. And I feel like, especially recently, Williams have been doing that, restructuring like the whole team, like on track with the Q3 performance. But I don't know. I feel like they have. It's a lot to ask for, but I feel like they're doing like the big moves to push for the front. But I guess we won't see anything until we see anything on the track.
Yeah, they're not doing anything wrong right now. They are making strides, but I think, going from 10th and 11th, I also said on a podcast with Mark last year that Red Bull had no chance of winning the championship this year. I actually did give them a chance. I said it's very difficult, but you never know. And Mark was like, "Yeah, it's not happening. There's no way." So we've seen crazier things. It just depends how they kind of exploit the rules and how how they can push those boundaries. I think if Russell goes to Mercedes, it might be a Bottas, like a Bottas Latifi. It could be Nissany Latifi. Yeah. If it's Roy Nissany and Nicholas Latifi, the team's not going to do so well.
Yeah, I don't think Roy Nissany's going to come in. I don't think they're going to go for two paid drivers.
Yeah.
Would you see Bottas accepting the downgrade to Williams? Obviously, like if he doesn't have the Mercedes seat, I don't know.
I don't think he has any other seat, does he?
He's just going to go from not winning in a Mercedes to not winning in a Williams.
Yeah,
True.
Basically. I think he might do 1 year to see how new. For example, if Russell gets in next year, might do 1 year to see how the new regs are, and then if he doesn't like it, go to endurance race or something like that.
Yeah. Doing Albon.
But Bottas is he gets so much hate, but he's a very skilled driver. And he could do really well with Williams, but again, we'll have to see. This is just a broken record. Let's vow this is going to be the last time we talk about this on the podcast until there's an announcement, because there's so much speculation. Same thing last year, like who's going to get that second Red Bull seat? Is going to be Albon. I thought it was Hulkenberg, then I thought it was Perez, and then I thought it was Hulkenberg again. Then the Albon was making a comeback, and then I was like, oh my god, what if it's like Daniel Ricciardo comes back and Christian Horner just might say F it and hop in that seat?
Yeah.
So you never know.
I mean, there's rumor this week that the Doros might be announced for next week. So
there's always rumors, though. It's Formula One, baby.
Yeah,
always rumors.
Okay, Misty, what's your controversial topic
that sparks controversy?
It's a bit mainstream, but my topic is who's the underdog to who, Mercedes or Red Bull? Yeah. I think, currently with like obviously the past 4 wins, Red Bull looking very strong, and they're also pushing like the development so hard. They like to the Styrian Grand Prix, Red Bull bought like 5 trucks worth of like new equipment and upgrades.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also with like the whole flexi wings and also like the tire pressure stuff from Baku, I feel like it's like really interesting.
But so wait, who's the underdog?
I would say Mercedes. Like right now, Mercedes.
Oh,
fair play.
That's not the most unpopular opinion, but again, there's like all these unpopular opinions. There's a lot to unpack with that. Christian Horner said in a statement today or yesterday that Red Bull isn't compromising their 2022 development with the 2021 car. They are. Like, you can't just say you're not compromising it, because as soon as you put $1 resource into the 2021 car, like you are, but he's not. It's not, the car's not going to be worse off because they're doing the 2021 development, because they do have a department to do development each year, and now they've had an extra year, and a team like Red Bull has had more time to as well as Mercedes and Ferrari and those bigger spending teams, has had more resources to put towards the 2021 car, which ended up becoming the 2022 car. But Mercedes, in the last couple of races, absolutely. The Red Bull Ring, it's the Max Bull Ring. Like there's no, it's Max's track and it's Lando's
Circuit
track.
du Max.
Circuit du Max, the Mexico.
Yeah, basically.
And Monaco as well, and Baku.
Yeah.
So street circuits and Red Bull Ring is where they really thrive, but they also beat Mercedes in France.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
a bit iffy. It's a bit iffy. I'm gonna say that.
It's really dependent on the track, but I think right now no one. So I do disagree. I think it's really track dependent, and they're just trading blows.
Yeah, I think they're underdogs in the face that they've never been challenged before, and the first time they're actually being challenged. I think that's why they're underdogs, but I wouldn't give in that they're underdogs in the whole championship because Mercedes have won. What is it? 7 times in a row, 6 times in a row, and I think they know how. I think you never forget how to win. Just about them getting back on their grooves and taking it back. But that's a very controversial segment of saying that Mercedes, the 6-time world champions, are underdogs.
Well, Williams are most certainly the underdogs, and they've won championships. Vettel is a 4-time world champion. Is the underdog.
Another like tangential topic to that. Have you heard about all like the allegations that Toto Wolff said about the Red Bull engine after France was I think because the Red Bull brought in a new engine, not a new engine, but supposedly not upgraded, but they feel like the Red Bull, Toto saying they've upgraded it when this year there should be no performance upgrades, purely like reliability upgrades.
Well,
I did hear about that. Yeah,
that is. I actually didn't hear about that because I got locked out of my Instagram page, wasn't able to check the news on anything for the past day. Basically, wasn't on social media, but.
Adam's slowly dying for not being on social media for one day.
Well,
I need to check my Instagram. What are my followers doing?
It wasn't about what the followers were doing. It was about what's going on in the Formula One world. That's why I got all my Formula One knowledge. But, yeah, of course, Toto Wolff said that. Like as soon as Red Bull gets a horsepower extra, like one extra pony, Mercedes is going to complain, and the same thing is going on with Mercedes. As soon as Mercedes gets a 1,000th of a second, Red Bull is complaining, and they're just trying to cut down the competition, and it's part of the strategy that is much more.
Max was saying it's because of their skinnier wing, and also like they for the steering Grand Prix, Hamilton got a deeper rear wing to help with like rear balance of the car. So,
I watched the Max's French Grand Prix pole lap, and compared to Lewis's on the Ghost, I'll link that channel to this podcast if I remember to. And you just see Max, his top end speed is so much quicker. He pulls out like almost a 10th or something like that on the Mercedes in France. So but I think a lot of that's the rear wing. Like I said, Red Bull has found a way to, because their car is, and I've said this 100 times before, this is the repeating podcast for myself. Their wheelbase is shorter, they're more nimble, great in the corners, really slow on the straights. They don't want to sacrifice downforce on the front and rear wing, because then they're slower in the corners and then they're slow in the straights. But they've been able to build an engine and an aerodynamic package where they can have less downforce in the straights and still be fast around corners. So like those rear wings, which are the main source of downforce, have less of that. That's definitely not how you say that in that terminology, but they have less downforce.
They have less of that, basically.
Yeah, less of that. And then they can still go around the corners quickly. So, but
very interesting. I don't know if you guys remember at the end of Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in last season, Christian Horner said that we have found something I wish we found a couple years ago, because now we're a lot more competitive than we ever were or ever will be. And I think that just showed everything. This season has just proved that like they found it. They found something in their car. It might be what you said right there. They have more of that, but
Yeah,
I
whatever,
think
whatever it is, I like it.
whatever it is, it's made this year a lot more competitive and definitely enjoyable for all F1 fans.
We'll see
Yeah,
in Silverstone though. Silverstone is going to be the real test because that is a
Yeah.
Mercedes track, and more specifically, that's a Lewis Hamilton track. You thought the Orange
Definitely.
Army was big? No. The 150 or 170,000
Yeah.
people, and
especially if England win on Sunday, then
oh
we might have two It's Coming Homes.
yeah,
No.
could you imagine?
I think the UK government announced like it's like the Silverstone Grand Prix is one like the first like pilots for like bringing
Yeah.
like fans like fully back to like 100% capacity.
It's
Full
100%
capacity,
full
which is
capacity
insane.
fans.
And
And you can feel
Ontario,
the state of I mean, it's gonna be absolutely massive. Like I know a few of my friends are heading down, and I wish I could go, but yeah.
All right. So we only have time for one more. Do
Yeah.
you guys want to do one more? Because I have another pretty good one that's controversial. It
Go
is
for
about
it.
Hamilton.
Go for it. We'll do a quick one.
I have a little one if you want, or let you go.
No, you go.
Okay, how about we all just say ours and then react to it very like in one sentence line. Go.
Hamilton would only have one World Driver Championship if it wasn't for Mercedes.
Disagree. Next.
Disagree.
I think he would have won regardless of Mercedes.
If he
maybe not one, but like just
I think
like
he would
way,
have. I mean,
less
he would
than
have taken
has.
the car. I mean, if you think about it, Mercedes won't exist without Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, it's like a
So he think about it. Valtteri Bottas. He had the same exact car. And has he done anything? No. And we consider him a really good driver. Nico, he won it, and it was a very close battle. That just shows that Mercedes have carried on with them, and that's it. And the reason why he signed on a 2-year contract extension as well.
Yeah, a lot of that is Mercedes, but a lot of it is Lewis Hamilton, sir, but a lot of it is Mercedes, especially in those early years. Yeah. And I don't know if because if he didn't go to Mercedes, he would have stayed with McLaren, and you see that might have not
but
have
then
been.
He might have taken McLaren to higher standards.
But
you never know.
Alonso and Button can't take McLaren to higher standards. Aryan, if I recall, you just said Jenson Button was capable of taking a team to the top.
Might have a bad year, right? He might have one bad year. Never know that.
One bad year, yeah.
Maybe a two-time world champion. Who would have been?
Maybe
it would have just been then Daniel. It would Daniel in 2014, Daniel 2015, or Vettel 2015, Max 2016, or Daniel 2016. Vettel 17, Vettel 18, Leclerc 19, Max 20, Max 21.
Yeah,
it would have been spicy.
Or maybe it'd be good battle with Lando and Max.
To be fair, if it wasn't for China 2007, Hamilton would have most likely won 2007 as well.
Yeah. I forget about that incident all the time. It's so crazy. Like, that's friggin' gravel trap cost the poor man a world championship.
Very sad time.
All right, next opinion. Musty, go. We have 1 minute.
The new pit stops will hinder Red Bull more than
Agreed.
That is an absolute true statement, and it is a very popular opinion, at least in this podcast circle. I fucking hate that new. Don't even get me started. We'll talk about this going into Hungary. I can't stand the thought of that new pit stop rule. It's ridiculous. I really just think like that is not a safety thing. That's really, there's been one incident in the past.
It's just a slow down Red Bull.
Yeah.
There's been one incident in the past 5 years that is, or maybe Lance Stroll absolutely moshing his jack stand guy in the front. But it's just, you take away the competitiveness of the sport.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. It's
just a slow down Red Bull. That's it.
Nah.
All right. Okay, we got 1 minute. Go.
Okay. Giovinazzi had given a good car would be a very competitive driver. Reasons being, what he raced against one of the most experienced racers in Formula One history. His junior career was actually pretty impressive. He won the karting championship, won GP2, and he only rookie to do that, or came in the top 2 of GP2. Only rookie to do that since Nico Hülkenberg. And finally in Le Mans he got 3rd place. So very impressive career before Formula One, but I think given a good car, you'd be really successful.
Yeah, I think there's obviously some truth to that with a lot of the drivers on the grid this year. Yeah, Giovinazzi, not a great driver in his first couple of seasons or his first season. Some things I think of the crash in Belgium, a couple other crashes, but yeah, he's consistent, he's clean. We just need to see if he can handle the pressure. That's a big thing. He can't handle the pressure of being under the podium, on the podium, in those podium positions, in the winning position and things like that. Musty, what do you think?
With Giovinazzi anyway, I feel like he's consistently driving to what the car's standards should be, but if he hasn't had any like chances in a competitive car, I guess I couldn't say like can like with confidence say he'd be good, even if he was good at younger levels.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to, because it's hard to say with any driver. You never know. Imagine like Nikita Mazepin gets put in a Mercedes and he's 8 tenths ahead of Lewis Hamilton. So I think that's gonna happen.
Let's pray that doesn't happen.
Could you imagine?
That'll be sick. That'll be very weird season.
I will shave my head and get a face tattoo if Nikita Mazepin signs for Mercedes next week.
This is going on TikTok now. This is going every single undercut podcast
if
thing.
Nikita Mazepin
will shave his head if Nikita Mazepin gets a race win.
I'll get
a win.
I'll get his name. Oh, if he gets a whoa. You just put words in my mouth. I said
if you catch on to it.
If he signs for Mercedes, honestly, if he wins a race this year, his betting odds are he's plus 3,000.
Yeah.
His odds are we'll be very rich, head shaven men.
I'm not doing it. You guys can do it. I like my hair. You guys can do it.
Hair grows back. Anyway, this is not the hair podcast. This is the undercut podcast where we talk about Formula One. Let's get back into it.
Yeah.
So those were our controversial sprint races. We're going to talk about sprint races briefly and then review at least 10 of the 20 driver ratings.
Yeah.
All right. So sprint races, they're coming up. If you haven't heard anything about sprint races, vis-a-vis if you've been living under a rock, they're basically qualifying has been moved to Friday, which is annoying because I work when the qualifying's on during Friday. It's 9 a.m. my time on Friday. For a lot of people, it's 2 p.m., which is still they're working.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's at 9 a.m. on Friday. Or I got to check the schedule. I got to double check because that could just be complete rubbish. But the qualifying is when we're working. And then on Saturday, the qualifying determines the grid for the sprint race. It's a 1/3 of the distance, 101.75 kilometer distance. So in Silverstone, it'd be 18 laps, 22 laps or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that determines the grid for the actual race. And you get a few points for being on the podium, but I'm not sure how to feel about it because that's just something that they've never toyed with in Formula One. It's been in other racing leagues, and I can't stand when they make the comparison to Formula 2 because this is not Formula 2. This is Formula fucking 1. This is Formula 1. They're completely different sports. I said that on the last podcast because this is the Adam Repeats Himself podcast. I'm saying it again. If Formula 1 is it messes with the DNA, and that's my first negative problem. I do have some positives with it as well. What do you guys think?
I mean, it definitely is a huge change from the normal Formula One weekend we're used to. I think it's been tried and successfully done in Formula 2. I think the reason why that works is because all cars are so similar. And I think it's just based on driver capability instead of the engine or the car manufacturing based on a bit of team, but it's a lot more based on how good your driver is. And the best teams do normally sign the best drivers, but that's irrelevant. I think with Formula One, I think the Saturday sprint race will be a huge copy of the Sunday. I think we probably won't see George Russell getting into a Q3 on those races because if you think unless there's a few crashes or a few spins or a few punctures where someone has to pit, even with that, I do think there's a chance that drivers could come back. Because, for example, if say a Sergio Perez gets a puncture, opens up a door for a Williams or Aston Martin to score in the top 10. but the Red Bull being such a quick car, I do think it's possible for them to come back in the race and get in the top 10 again. But I mean, I like the innovation. I like they're testing it out, but not too sure about how fun it will be how fun it will be for the viewers, at least, because it might just be a repeat of Saturday and Sunday.
Musty.
I feel like I just thought about this now. I feel like maybe it'll take some of the edge away from going as fast as possible, like, from qualifying, because like, yeah, why would you push the car if like you qualify a few places back and you can like go again for it on the Saturday, and also like say you crash out say you're like the suspected like race winner on the Sunday, and you crash out in qualifying, you won't be charging from the back anymore. You'll be charging from the midfield because you worked your way up in the sprint race.
Yeah.
And,
unless you crash in the sprint race as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I think the Friday will be. I mean, I hate how there's less practice, but I mean, less practice always proven to be more of a fun race weekend. The only thing I don't like is how, like, on Saturday, you basically have all the race strategies shown. You basically know how a driver's going to take in the race and their speeds with a specific set of tires. But I mean, the UK being the rainy conditions it is, it might be a very exciting couple of laps to watch.
Yeah, the thing with the sprint race on Saturday is that you have all of that race data. So you do, because you're doing a race, so you know where to overtake and everything. And it's the same tires as Sunday. So the racing, it might affect the racing on Sunday a little bit. I mean, hey, I like more racing. The more they race, kind of the better. There is a limit, because then, if you have like 73 races a year, it kind of takes away from the specialness of each race.
Yeah.
But the thing with Formula 2 is the reason they do a sprint and a sprint and what's the other race called? Oh my God.
Feature race.
Feature. Jeez, worst Formula fan ever. The reason they do is for financial reasons. So they do not travel to 23 countries. They only travel to 11 or 12, and they get 24 races out of it with a modified point schedule. But in Formula 1, I just it is more racing and it is a lot of fun, but it just kind of messes with the DNA of the sport. And
it's taken out what the original Formula 1 fan wants, at least.
Yeah, like Formula 1 has been doing that for 70 years.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with racing is racing with V10 or V6 engines, and racing is racing with whether it's Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen or Nikita Mazepin and racing Mick Schumacher.
Yeah.
But when you add the sprint races, it just that's how the weekend. I feel like it will just really affect the weekend.
But, I think it's a phrase: if it ain't broke, why trying to fix it?
Yeah, if it ain't broke,
I don't think it is broke. I think we've had some of the best Saturdays in the past few weeks, like McLaren Lando getting a P2, Russell getting into Q3. The last week again, Russell getting into Q3 by default, but he got in P10. Yeah. He started the race P10 at least. I think we've had a very exciting last couple of qualifying. So if it ain't broke, why trying to fix it?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
I feel like definitely like qualifying will be like less special is what it is.
Definitely.
If you can make up for it on the Saturday.
Definitely.
I think alternatives would be really modifying the race. And I don't know how, because that was kind of the other issue I have with it, is it really takes away from the Sunday win. Yeah. Imagine if Nico Hülkenberg got a podium on Saturday. Would he really gotten a podium?
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to, because he's not in the grid, but
I think
something like it just kind of messes with.
Yeah. I think about on a Saturday as well. There might be, because think about it, P1 gets 3 points, P2 gets 2, P3 gets 1 point. So if you're not part of the top 3, would you really push your car, or would you?
Yeah, because then on Sunday you start one position ahead.
Yeah,
which is it's a benefit, and I like that aspect. And the races are always much more intense, or not always, but sometimes usually much more intense than the qualifying. Like qualifying, the only part where I'm really stressed out as a Red Bull fan is in Q3, because it's is he going to put it on the pole?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. It might mess with the racing, but at the other side of it, it's attracting new fans with more on-track action. People don't want to watch practice. I watch practice, but barely. Sometimes it gets boring. I like watching it for the technical analysis of the commentators, and so thank you, David Crofty and Martin Brundle. And I like watching it to see who's performing and checking in and things like that. And I'm the most passionate I'm about as passionate as they come. So for a new fan that doesn't care about DNA and things are changing and sound like an old fart, it's good. And it's the same thing with the electric engines. It's about sustainability, attracting new fans, and at the end of the day, it's more racing. So am I really going to complain? No. We'll have to wait till this Saturday. I'm so excited for the next podcast. I'm excited for every podcast, but the next one, it's going to be spicy.
It's going to be spicy. That's a guarantee. It'll be spicy. How do you guys think about this topic? I just realized that if a team like Williams, right, they might go all out on a Saturday just to be in a position where they're very competitive on Sunday, where they start like a P10 or P9.
Williams' race pace is not horrendous, but it's not amazing. It's same thing with Ferrari. The race pace hasn't been that good this year, but the qualifying has been really well.
I think it might hurt Ferrari a lot more than they think it will be.
The qualifying has been virtually, it counts as nothing. I just blanked it. It doesn't really mean a whole, it means a lot, but it does not mean as much as it did when it was on the Saturday.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Musty, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like it's just taken away from the qualifying. That's like spectacle on Saturday.
The DNA of the sport.
That's it.
Yeah. It's a bit sad, but it's only one race. Exactly. It's only one race. We're testing it out to see if it works.
Yeah.
And us at the Unica podcast are testing it out as well.
Yeah. If it's a great weekend, then we can put our hands down and be like, okay, it was a good weekend. Would like to see it again. But if not, I don't think it's worth another experiment at least.
It's in 3 races this season, right? What are the other 2?
I think one was supposed to be Canada, so it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
Very awkward.
I gotta look it up. I got my phone right here.
I feel so sad that Canada and Australia aren't happening.
Yeah, especially Australia. I mean, Canada as well, but man, I love Australia.
Yeah.
It's a staple, yeah.
It is.
They widened the track and they made changes to the track as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they were going to improve the racing. There was a bunch of changes. We wrote a blog about it. We had everything, but we'll wait until 2022, I guess.
Yeah.
One more year.
Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, they made changes and it looks, I have a friend who's from Abu Dhabi and he went down and looked at the models they have.
Oh man.
And it does look pretty good.
Wider track, thinner cars, what can happen?
Yeah. I'm going there, so I'm very excited for that race. I can't wait for December 10th. That should be very, very fun. If any of the Undercut podcast fans will be there, send us a DM. I will definitely meet you guys. Do a quick fan meet.
Definitely. All right. Yeah. We got to move on.
Right.
So we're going to review. So if you don't know, the Formula 1 2022 or 2021 video game by Codemasters has been bought by EA. And you know how EA loves their cards.
EA.
You know how EA loves their cards. The FIFA, the amount of times, you just lose your marbles over trying to pack a team of the year, Ronaldo. If you just basically put 50 hours a week into trying to get that, and then you just don't get anyone but anyway, they've done the same thing. They've given drivers an overall rating, then a rating based on experience, racecraft, awareness, and pace. We're going to go through them relatively quickly. It's kind of like a driver rating because you know how much we love our driver ratings. And we're going to start with Fernando Alonso. Overall rating, 89.
Yeah.
Respectable, yeah.
I agree.
So low. And you guys don't notice that because it's the first rating we're doing, but I think he should be a 91.
I think he's a really good racer. He's been out of the game for a bit, so and this is based on this season, not overall. It's based on sort of overall, but a lot more about this season as well.
Yeah, that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is, you give Sebastian Vettel a low rating. They're like, oh, he's a 4-time world champion. He did no. It's his performances relative to the car's positioning
Yeah.
this year is how he's gotten his rating. But Fernando Alonso's, for a guy who's had jaw surgery at the start of the season, hasn't raced in 2 years, and is coming back into a sport and just wiping the floor with his teammate currently, or at least
Is
the past 2 or 3 races, at least at 90.
That was from the bike crash, wasn't it? The jaw surgery.
Yeah,
right?
he got hit by a car.
Yeah.
Imagine being the guy that hit Fernando Alonso with your car. I know you're definitely not listening to this podcast, but if you are, okay.
If you are, watch out.
Yeah, watch out. Esteban Ocon, overall rating 86.
I think a bit lower, but
Yeah, like an
Yeah, a
80,
bit lower,
like an
yeah.
83.
I would
think
say
that's a-
83.
You'll notice the trend of where everyone's placed as we go through the list. But yeah, he is a little high. But he's also a very talented driver, and he has been doing well this year. But yeah, 86 is too high.
Wasn't he projected?
Mhm.
Wasn't he projected for a Mercedes seat at one point a few years ago?
Yeah.
Ocon.
He was.
You never know. He could get it next year.
Maybe, he signed a 3-year contract extension. So
yeah, so it's probably
that's
not
a bit hard. It might be a bit
probably not going to happen. Yeah, I can't imagine that. Well, Sebastian Vettel, 72.
Ooh.
I'm kidding. It's an 89. Could you imagine?
I was gonna say
89. I think that's maybe 1 or 2 too high.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair.
If you look at his career,
I'm a big Vettel fan, so
yeah. If you look at his career, it's 95. But if you look at, I think his experience rating, which is a 91, should be like a 95 or 96. He's done a lot of laps.
Yeah.
But an 89, I think that's pretty appropriate based on his rating this year and last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Moving on. Musty, what do you think? 89?
89, yeah. Look, yeah. As a Vettel fan, I would say it is a tad too high, like 87 maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Lance Stroll. This is going to be the first one I think I agree with. Overall rating, 83.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit lower of how shit he's been this season.
But yeah, he's kind of been nowhere this season. He's
not in any headlines or anything.
Yeah, but he's just really impressed me in the way that he's kind of overcome so much hate. He got his daddy's boy and daddy's money, and so he just
I think ever since Mazepin came, he's just been like he's been so happy. He's probably the only driver on the grid that's happy since Mazepin's come in.
Yeah, Lance Stroll walked so Nikita Mazepin could spin.
Yeah, basically.
Pastor Maldonado crawled so Lance Stroll could walk so Mazepin could spin. Is what I'm saying.
I don't know if it was like fake or not, but didn't Steiner give him a spin?
Oh yeah, he did. It was a top.
He did.
We talked about that on a podcast before. If they were both in on it and it was like a skit, it's kind of funny. But I also had a little bit of beef with that as from a leadership standpoint. Doing that to your driver psychologically must have just really messed them up. Because the hate does get to them. Kimi Räikkönen, 87. I'd give him an 85.
I'll give him an 83.
Wow.
I think overall he's been really good, but this season he's been off the pace.
He hasn't been that great this season. No,
like I agree with the experience being 99, racecraft being 91. I don't agree with the rating this year.
I believe they may have considered last year as well when they made these ratings, because we're only 9 races into the season, and I can't imagine they just made them yesterday.
Yeah.
So they probably determined these ratings. That probably took them a long time. So we'll consider last year as well. Yeah, I think an 85. It's pretty accurate. What do you think? Musty?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty on point. Yeah, not much to say.
85 to 87. Tonio, 79.
I don't agree with this. I do not agree with this.
Oh,
if you heard the earlier segment, I do not agree with that. I think Giovinazzi is an amazing race car driver, and I don't think he deserves a 79.
I think what is affecting his score, I'm not sure how they determine the overall rating, but I think for someone like Antonio Giovinazzi, his rating would be affected by his experience, which is rated at a 54, which is true. The man's only done 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
His pace is an 80. His awareness is 82, and his racecraft is 82 as well. So I think a 79 is pretty appropriate. If you're doing it based on pace and skill, perhaps an 80. But that's something I think we need to consider.
Yep.
Mick Schumacher, 76. Good. Yep.
Yeah.
Awareness. He's got a great awareness, no experience.
Yeah.
Nikita Mazepin. Poor Nikita Mazepin, 67, and by far the lowest rating by almost 10. And I think it's accurate.
Oh yeah, like
I love how his pace is like 20 less than Mick.
Yeah,
Mick is like 83, and Mazepin's like 66 or something like that.
66, yeah.
I love how he's so off the pace.
Can we agree with 67?
I was a 60, but okay. No hate, Mazepin. No hate.
It's just like on par. I don't know. There's not much to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lando Norris, 91. Give it to me. That's a great rating for this year and last year.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, maybe not last year. He had a great start of the season and kind of fell off. But this year, he's just been on fire. He's got great racing ability. His wheel-to-wheel battling is very respectful. He's never in controversy. Controversy. Everyone loves him, and he's got great pace and good awareness. So yeah, I think a 91 is appropriate.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Ricardo, Daniel Smiles, Ricardo, I connected with you on LinkedIn. Message me back.
Same here.
So did Aryan. Message us back, please. But this is not gonna.
Please, like absolutely insane.
Me connecting with him on LinkedIn did not change my decision for this rating. It's a 90.
Yeah,
I don't think it should be that high. No, 86, 85.
A tad high. Yeah.
The thing about this year, he's been bad this year, but last year he was freaking amazing.
He was on fire last year. So if we're looking at these ratings and basing them off last year and this year, maybe a 90 is a little bit more appropriate. This year, it's definitely been an 83 to 85 performance, especially compared to his teammate. But Daniel Ricciardo, his career statistic is like a 92, 93.
Definitely.
His racecraft is unbelievable, and his awareness is great, and he's got a lot of experience. 10 years ago today, from recording, because we're recording on Saturday. Happy Saturday, everyone, or happy Monday if you're listening to this. 10 years ago today, he tested for HR. He did his first race in Silverstone, a very wet Silverstone for HRT. Fun little tidbit.
Fun fact.
Charles Leclerc, 88.
Don't agree. I think he should be 91, 92. Probably.
That's right. There is a violation.
Yeah, that is a violation.
It's a little bit of a violation. 88. Come on.
Definitely.
Again, the experience, I think, is dragging
Lando
down.
has probably the same one. Lando has the experience, and
Lando has less experience. He has got,
and he's still done higher.
Yeah, maybe, I think. Yeah, musty.
Maybe they can't give everyone 90s, and his card was decided a bit later because I know there's someone there. Yeah,
they just.
I think also because last year the Ferrari wasn't too great. So
especially
that's why at least it wasn't too great for season 4.
He had a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 season last year. He made a couple of pretty critical mistakes in different races, but yeah, I think an 88 is a little bit of a violation. His pace is 92. Which
I think what bottom down probably is racecraft sometimes, and so awareness at points. Because he last year crashed with Max. This year he's crashed with Seb last year. I think that probably bottomed down quite a bit.
All in Austria, 88, and
he does not finish his Monaco Grand Prix race. So I think that probably bottom a bit more down.
Home Grand Prix
minimum 89, 90 though, especially because he's doing leaps and bounds in that Ferrari, and Daniel Ricciardo hasn't been doing that well. So giving Ricciardo a higher rating, but again, more experience. Sainz, 87. Yep.
Yeah.
I think 87, 89.
Yeah. Whatever you give Leclerc, give Sainz one less. Really good. Not as much. I think he's had a lot more experience though in the car, and he can bring a lot more to the team. And he's a very underrated driver. So, 87 is appropriate. But just give him whatever you give Leclerc, give him like 1 or 2 less. Yep, agreed?
Yeah. I'd agree. Yeah.
This is a lot of fun. George Russell. Chances of driving for Mercedes, 84. Which is also his overall rating. Is 84. Let's see. it's kind of hard. There's so much bias.
Y-
You think he's never gotten a point,
Yeah,
so it's easy to give him a lower score. But
yeah.
I
84.
think that's why you say like his awareness is 99 because he hasn't, apart from the Valtteri incident, he hasn't really messed up.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I know
he's got an amazing awareness stat.
yeah.
But having him one rating higher than Lance Stroll, I just don't think is very appropriate. I think he's got to be 5 or 6 levels. I think an 87, 88, maybe even
Fair
pushing
play.
a 90. What do you think, Musty?
I feel like it's 84 is like a bit low for what like a fan would want to give him, but it's because of the lack of on track performances to back stats, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But that's just because of the car, and more so than the driver. Well, as a fan, more so the car than the driver. Yeah.
And the last one, Nicholas Latifi, 71.
Yeah.
76.
Maybe a bit low, but I think
Yeah, I think
in that area.
76
Yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
had a ton of experience. He's not very fast, but he's on par with Mick Schumacher, I think. Mick
Yeah.
Schumacher may be a little. So a 75, 76, I think is more appropriate and better than a 71.
Yeah.
But that's all the ones that I have. Who?
There's one more with Max and
Yeah, we have
Sergio.
Max, Sergio, and then we don't have either of the Mercedes.
I've got both of them. Red Bull and Mercedes. Max is 95 overall rating, 69 experience, 96 racecraft, 96 awareness, and 97 pace.
I think the experience is a little low, but a 95 pretty much sums up the season.
Yeah. I was in 95. It's bang on accurate. I think awareness, I think you can push it up to 75, maybe.
Yeah.
He's not that. I mean, he is very young, but he is.
Yeah.
And then Sergio is 87 overall rating with an 81 experience, 92 racecraft, 84 awareness, and an 87 pace.
Musty, what do you think?
I feel like with Max, especially with like the experience, I feel like that's on par because like it's got. I guess it's had to do with a little bit like battle. It's like his hot-headedness.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously I feel like he's outgrown that this season, but like especially the start of last season, I feel like it was still a bit there. So that's like
He's talking about Sergio?
Sorry, Max.
Max. Yeah, I think Max is having a damn near perfect season. Sergio,
he definitely is.
I think it's 86,
87.
87 is pretty appropriate for Sergio.
Yeah,
as
that
well.
is appropriate. Yeah.
All right, Hamilton, 93. That's what
he's 95.
95.
Yeah.
His experience
same.
is 92.
Yeah.
His racecraft's 94. His awareness is 89. His pace is 98. Bit surprising the awareness side, but
yeah, the pace being he's so quick. I think his overall rating, should be a 9. Yeah, based on the last 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a 95, 96, I think is appropriate.
Yeah.
Not a lot to say.
Yeah, I thought it's appropriate based off experience. Yeah.
You guys think the awareness is a bit low, or is it just me?
Yeah, I think he's got pretty good awareness. I think that the 2 Albon incidents probably didn't help his score.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's extreme. My wallpaper right now is turn 2 of Imola lap 1, and he's being the most aware driver he could possibly be. How he did not crash into Max was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Bottas.
And then Valtteri Bottas is 92 overall,
92.
75 experience, 89 racecraft, 99 awareness, and a 92 pace. I don't agree with some of that for sure.
Get that off my bloody screen. I don't want to see that. 92 overall with a 99 awareness?
Yeah.
They need to trade Hamilton and Bottas's awareness. That's the first thing. That's the first mistake they made.
Definitely.
Codemasters, are you taking job applications? Because I will work for you. I think Valtteri is having like an 85, 86 season. He just is not.
Yeah. Well, I think about last year, he had a pretty decent last year. I mean,
last season wasn't too bad. Yeah.
But I mean, I think overall, I think I love how, I don't know if you guys think controversial statement, but I think the introduction of EA in the whole F1 game industry, well, like it'll definitely make things a bit more it makes things more formal than we're used to. Like it'll make things more professional, and I don't think we like it that professional with the F1 games. But I think I definitely like the introduction of EA because they've got so many resources out. Like for example, these cards.
Yeah.
remember starting the game Breaking Point series, for example. That's a huge dev. There's so many other like things with marketing that EA can help, and they can probably bring back so many F1 fans that didn't even like playing the games but don't like watching the races.
Yeah,
I think it will attract a lot of attention to Formula One at least.
well, it's like, it's like Red Bull or someone. It's like a Formula One team buying another Formula One team and kind of absorbing that team. Another industry example is Apple. Like Apple bought Beats, and through that they have made the AirPods based on the technology of Beats, and same thing with Apple Music. So I think from that side of it, EA has so much video game experience, and they've made some pretty rubbish games, not to name a few, NHL or
NBA Live.
NBA Live. Some of the 2K games haven't been the best, but as long as it doesn't sell out and it still has the Codemasters at heart, but there's so many things they've changed about this year, which I'm so excited for. We're going to do a full F1 game review on the podcast coming up. And so I'm excited. And I think the driver ratings were pretty good. There's a couple that people are mad about, but if you only consider the last 2 years, then I think they're pretty appropriate. Yeah. Definitely. Do you guys have anything else to say, or anything else?
Let's see, any final thoughts?
One last thing about the like the electric cars. With Porsche is doing some like promising research into synthetic fuels, which are like
very nice.
which is rings in ear to an F1 fan. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that from earlier. Yeah.
Porsche will win the 2027 Formula One Driver World Championship with Porsche engine. Don't quote me on it. Actually, do quote me on it. I'm gonna clip this because that might happen.
To be fair, I've heard there's talks about Volkswagen, especially if like F1 pushes for more like environmental stuff. Like they're trying to get a berth into as an F1 team. Maybe.
We'll see, especially if they go carbon neutral, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, viewer, thank you very much for listening. Thank you to all the fans for supporting us on this platform. Again, told you got some big things coming, and we're going to continue to bring those big things. The podcast is only going to get better. The content is going to get better. Everything, we're working on it. And thank you very much for listening. And we will let us know what you thought of the podcast. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or whatever you're listening to. Leave us a comment. Reach out to us on our Instagram at the Anika Pod. Our social media is at the Anika Pod. Our website at www.theanikapod.ca. And make sure to follow, subscribe, and listen to us. Thank you very much.
Follow us on TikTok as well.
Follow us on TikTok.
Yeah.
Love TikTok.
Cheers,
all right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Peace out.
Cheers.